blastmusic247.com. We're changing the industry, one artist at a time.
Take the steps beyond your way. Take the steps when you have a dream. You gotta start. It's the only way. If you're gonna shine, and you're gonna shine, shine, shine. You're gonna shine. All right, and we are shining bright on the ranch today. Welcome, welcome. The ranch is brought to you by Blast Music 24/7, your one-stop for all indie artists. In this show, we span the globe to bring you the best in Americana music. So thank you for tuning in. We love our listeners, My Indie Radio out in Paris, Plow Zone out in California. Love you guys checking in every week, and our streaming platforms listening. Which is Pandora, Podcast Addict, Amazon, Pandora, Apple Pod. We're everywhere you want to be. And tonight we have a really, really special show. Something we've talked about a lot is the advances in AI technology. And it's kind of an interesting topic because AI has been around a long time. We Google something, it's using AI. It's just really kind of exploded across the music industry recently, and it's a change and a shift. I remember Dylan walked onto the stage with an electric guitar and the folk community almost died, then the synthesizers, and then, and now we have more advancements. So what I thought I'd do is bring on stage today some people I really respect in the AI world, effectively using AI. And I thought, you know what, let's compare apples to apples. Let's take a song that's a favorite of mine, but because it was a favorite, I kind of was very picky about the vocals and never really, sat, So I thought, you know what, we're going to take one song and see what they could do with it, AI, and really have a discussion of the tools, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. So first person we're going to bring on is Gioia, who actually produced that song for me several years ago. It was actually released during COVID. And then Steve Kirchuk is a stranger to the show. He's had we've had him on the show. He's had some songs in his special, and he has been using AI vocals for quite some time. So I really just want to dig in. We're going to bring up Tom. We're going to bring up Steve.
Hey. Hello, everyone. The crowd goes wild.
Crowd goes wild, So, guys.
Hi.
AI has been around for a long time. I mean, auto-tuning and things like that. Why is it exploding now? Why is everyone going kind of crazy about it now?
Who wants, Tom, you want to go first? Or?
Okay. Well, I just, while you were introing us, I looked up 1956 Dartmouth Computer Conference, Alan Turing, and he wrote a book, Computing Machine Intelligence. And then in 1950, then this guy, John McCarthy, actually started writing programs in 1950. So go figure. I didn't even know that. I thought it was like Google, doing searches and compiling data was really AI. So, okay, so why is it a big deal now? Okay, well, because computers got a million times faster, a lot less expensive, and because there really is no standard recording industry anymore or standard studios. Everybody is could be their own label, their own recording artist. So it became a way to quickly execute something or get music out, so on the upside, it's a really good tool. But on the downside, as I might have mentioned to you when we talked prior, I do work for Universal Music, their production library, and I was talking to my friend over there, and he was like, wow, do you know anything about it? And I was like, dude, here's a link. These are all these tunes I did. And he's like, oh, these sound great. But we can't use any of them because they're watermarked. There's metadata, even if you just use the vocal. We will not release it because the data is not in legally. And there's this guy, Steve Israelite, his name is. He has his heads this National Producer Musicians, NPMA. I forgot what it stands for. And he goes to bat like against Spotify. And I met him at a conference, and he was like, they say to you, okay, if you have Suno, let's say, and you have the pro plan, if you inputted your own lyrics and your own melody and chords, they don't own anything. Then I spoke to a couple of publishers and music attorneys, and they said, yeah, that's what they say, but they said it's not really, they're still not sure if this may come to a lawsuit later, or they might want a piece. Now, if you're a kid that just says, well, I have a poem.
Let's stick with the original question and get to Steve, because I want to hold the legality of it.
Yeah.
Later. Go ahead, Steve. Why is it such a big deal now?
Well, kind of what Tom said, the power that is available now, the computers, and it's just advanced every day. Every day I look at it and there's new updates and it gets better and better and better. And of course, we've all heard of these huge buildings that house the supercomputers that are sucking out the energy of the environment and everything. So it's power. It's, that's the, remember when the first computer came out, you hardly had any memory and hard drive, then it doubled and tripled and quadrupled. And now, like, our phones are stronger than what the spaceships were back in the day, are more powerful. I mean, it's crazy. So that's part of the reason.
We have more power in our phones than the whole computer that we had to start out with years ago.
Right. But it's learning. It's constantly learning. I mean, it was interesting, Tom, what you're saying, the legality of it. I guess we can go about it later. I guess I should look into that, because I don't really use the generated product. I mean, I take the stems, and that means separate tracks. After you create in Suno, which is what I use, you separate out the tracks, but then I bring it into Logic and start manipulating, mixing, using different pieces. And then I mix it down, master it. And let me ask you a question, Tom. So at that point, is the metadata of the Suno tracks still embedded?
It's on anything you use. So I do similar.
Okay, let me just stop right there. For anyone listening, metadata. You have a track. I have released a song. I meta tag it. So when you listen to it, my name comes up, the name of the song comes up, the track number comes up. There's all kinds of stuff that we're supposed to put in there to track tag songs and help you find them better. Okay, I track it with an ISCR code. So internationally, I get credit for people who play the song. So now that what they're saying is the big players are instantly tagging anything that is generated. For different reasons, and there are two big players right now. It's Suno and
Udemy, or whatever. There was one. There's a brand new one out. I forget the name of it. And again, they're all, each one is better than the previous one.
Well, yeah. I use a specific one that's a plugin in Pro Tools or Logic, and it's called Voice ID by SonarWorks, and you can take a vocal and then you can load it in. The quality is really high, and then you can select your singers. You can preview it. So you're basically changing the singer in a session.
Right.
But if the singer, like for me, I want to do a reference vocal, so I have an idea, let's say. So reference vocal means I'm going to go in and sing, and I'm not a singer. I'm a guitar player, bass player, all the other stuff. So it's not going to sound good. So if I go in and sing it, it's not going to fix it. It's going to take exactly my bad phrasing and tuning, unless I tune myself up, and it's going to put a better voice quality. Right. Now in Suno, I kind of have been abandoning that, and I kind of put the whole song in Suno and just use the vocal in some cases. But I don't use it to release. I use it to like, as I have, besides being a producer, I'm a songwriter. So if someone wants to hear something's quick or another version of something I did, I will put it in there, and I will send it to them, and that's why I gave you, Randy, whenever you want to get to it, before and after.
Well, we're going to get to that in a second. But before I get to the songs, the original, and then what you guys came up with, one thing both of you were clear about, AI has no conscience. What does that mean?
Well, it's using reference material, and the prompting, which that's what you tell Suno or any of these programs what you're looking for. And that's evolved, like I said, daily. It seems like they have evolved in the sense that as a producer, I could say, okay, vocal style. Then I can also say vocal treatment, compression, echo, reverb, doubling. I mean, there's, you can add those prompts as well. Or I could just say classic country, and then it interprets that. And it takes all the styles that are country and it applies it to what you've given it. Now, again, I must say too, personally, I only use covers, the feature of Suno. So I give it all the instruments, the vocals, the harmonies for the most part. And pretty much I use like 90% of the original and maybe 10% of the Suno prompt. So I get it as close as I can to what I want, but it's produced, it's cleaner and so on and so forth. You do get,
and who gives them their where they get all the info from. When you put your song on Spotify, that thing we all go down and you just say, I agree.
Yeah, right.
You're agreeing to let Spotify take everything and throw it in AI engines. They sell it to him. That guy does not do anything besides giving the worst royalty rate to singers and songwriters.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
They're selling it on top of that, and you're
Yeah.
not getting a percentage of what they're selling. I have about 8 or 9 artists records that I finished recently that are like, I'm not putting it up on Spotify. I don't care.
Yeah, a lot of people.
I'll put it on Apple and Amazon because until they'll start selling it. And I'm like, what are you going to do then?
I mean, AI goes out to the web and grabs it from everywhere, not just Spotify. I mean, it's a search engine, basically. Yeah.
It doesn't have a conscience. It's a machine driven data to do this job.
But Spotify's making money on it.
By selling
it. Yeah.
So they're double dipping because you're getting paid squat and then they're making money on top, which is, so he can invest more in the military industrial complex. He's like,
right. Here we go.
Yeah. Okay, let's go back.
Oh, which, by the way, if you could look, you could Google AI in warfare. There's a ton of stuff.
Oh,
when that came up, I wasn't looking for that.
Let's bring community together. I don't even want to.
No, I'm just saying that it's like anything that we have technologically has been around in the military. I have friends that were ex-military, and they were like, we had GPSs, we had this. So it was, everything's inevitable. They've just got it. We get it later, like, all that stuff. So it's not, so in a way, I mean, I mean, think about what we use it for. And the other interesting thing is that makes this even more like bizarre is, so if you're in this program Suno, which is the generator, if you want to type in, I tried it just for the heck of it. So some labels said, do you have like blues songs in the style of Bonnie Raitt? Because we're pitching songs to her. I said, sure. Right. So I put in, make this in the style of Bonnie Raitt. So it bounces out. So then my friend of mine said, why don't you beat them at their own game? I said, what do you mean? He said, why don't you go into Gemini or whatever and load in, like, say, describe this Bonnie Raitt song,
right,
and then lift it. So I'm like, I'm using AI to feed AI. I was like, oh my God, why did I go to school for music? So
okay, let's go back to the music. Let's start with the song Wilderness Man, which is very bluesy for me, not quite my style, but I really wanted to do this song. The video I had a ton of fun with. I drug a bed to the middle of the woods, so we're going to see that in a minute. Okay, so let's start with what I came up with. And this is actually scary for me because we all know I can't compete with AI. But we'll have that discussion when we get back. So this is Wilderness Man.
Why am I here alone in this bed? Memories lost in the dark. What did you start? You took your trip to the wilderness, and what did you find? Was I on your mind? Wilderness man, wilderness man, wilderness man, wilderness man, wilderness man, wilderness man. What did you want sniffing around my front door? And I want more. Am I playing the fool, staying around to beg for you? And what do you do? You took your trip to the wilderness, and what did you find? Was I on your mind? Wilderness man, wilderness man, wilderness man. I want you to know you can't just come and go. You took your trip to the wilderness, and what did you find? Was I on your mind? Wilderness man, wilderness man, wilderness man. I want you to know you can't just come and go. Wilderness man, wilderness man, wilderness man. I want you to know you can't just come and go.
All right, we are back on the ranch. We are brought to you by Blast Music 24/7, your one stop for all indie artists. And we are a live show. I know we have a lot of people listening tonight. One of my favorites. Thank you, Billy. I do appreciate it. And it actually is one of my favorites as well. Even though I got called out for bad air guitaring on that video, which I was upset with. But it is one of my favorite songs. I worked really hard on it, but because it was my favorite, Tom can tell you that I really was critical of my vocals. I was like, you know, and we worked hard, and I was under a time crunch. You're in the studio. You have so much time. You got to get there, and I wasn't feeling well, but that's what I came up with, you know. We lost Steve. I don't know why. I hope he comes back in.
You want to play the Suno versions that I sent you?
Yes, let's do that. Oh, he's back.
Something happened. Technology.
Yeah, it blinked out. Okay. So what we're going to do is we played that. And I have to tell you, it was my first video to get over 100,000 views on TikTok. I mean, on YouTube. Yeah, I know. I'm getting pinged that we lost Steve, but he's back. So thank you guys. Texting me always helps. So we got him back. So what I want to do, I'm going to take a deep breath. Because you guys did a great job with this. And I'm like, honestly, I can't compete with IA vocals, right? Even before we play that.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, though. What is the purpose? You know, like as a songwriter, I want to get the best possible song. As a performer, I have a lot of friends said, get rid of the AI. We want to hear your vocals. I hate my vocals, but people like it. They want to hear me, and if you're playing out as a performer, and I think that's really, again, it comes down to, that's where you're going to make your money. If, forget it, I'm not going to go on tour and be famous anymore. I'm 70 years old, but people want to, playing live is really where it's always been at. I mean, that's where bands make their money. Although, yeah, the promoters make a ton of money too off of that. But, for me, I have a million songs, and I just use Suno to represent those songs and hopefully have somebody hear it and say, hey, yeah, I'm a country singer, and that sounds great. I can do that. That's kind of where I'm at.
So over to you, Tom. As a singer, you have choices now, with what to do. And I can't compete with the AI, or can I, Tom?
Well, you have something the AI doesn't have. You have you. So the question is, when there are people that like, deliver a song in a way that's personal and it resonates with people.
Yeah.
And sometimes the AI gets it, and sometimes it doesn't. Most of the time it does, but it may not be the intent that the songwriter had. So, that's the whole thing with anything, whether it's music or sports or any vocation. The individual person and their personality and the sum of their experiences. Okay, and the argument's going to be, well, AI has the sum of everybody's experiences, but it's still a machine calculating, and it's an algorithmic situation. So it's great for getting things going. It's great to give you ideas. It's great to play as a demo, but it's never gonna be making music and being released. And if it is now, and it's happening behind, like that guy that got sued. Did you hear about the Spotify? The guy was sick of Spotify not giving him any money, and they kept saying, if you want to be on this playlist, you have to create more.
Right,
he started using AI. Yeah, and he put up all these pseudonyms, and he started banging out tracks like crazy. And then and he got a lot of money, and then Spotify wigged out, and they want to keep pushing the bar back, so they sued this guy, and he lost, unfortunately, because he kind of beat him at their own game, but he did it. So it's not going to be allowed. It's never going to get there, and if it does, then at that point it's like, well, people are going to feel it's soulless, and they're going to want to do something. That being said, I've done demos of stuff where when I sent you that playlist, I just played guitar, the chords, and the melody, or a couple of them I had a drum beat and a little reference of chords, and somebody sang a reference, and I, and it did it, and it was great because I can maybe sell a song, but it's under the guise that it's 30, it's 30 hours of work I don't have to do, and if you like the song, then you can buy it or pay me to do the 30 hours of work, and if you don't, no hard feelings. I'm not worried. I'm not that. So that's great for that. Or a kid that wants to try stuff and learn, and maybe a kid can do it. Like if I was thinking about it as a person that studied music, I was like, wow, this would have been cool because I could have put this stuff in and told it what to do. And then I could download the stems and I could learn every part and figure it out. So maybe educationally it might be really good, but it's like a pen, somebody's got to write with it. So,
and to the point, back to the point Billy just said too, Randy will never be replaced. And in a sense, it's right. This song is always the style. It's Randy O'Neill's Wilderness Man, and even you said that a couple times. The songwriter is the driver of the song.
Right.
It has to be the heart and soul. And you're just tweaking how it's going to be played.
Yeah, I mean,
like Tom Petty isn't the greatest singer in the world, but I can't think of anybody else singing his songs.
Right.
Okay.
Willie Nelson, okay. Bob Dylan, geez, but for the material, it's like a hand in a glove.
But there is a difference. Like again, when I feed it into AI, I really control it. I mean, it has my guitar riffs, it has my bass lines. I really push where it's like almost 100% of my original sample and just like 5 or 10% of the prompt. And you hear the two songs side by side, which we're going to hear, Randy's. Yeah. It's still her song or my song. AI couldn't create that song. And well,
That's a
whatever.
good point, actually.
The other thing is, are people getting so used to the sound, right? Like there's a sound changes. You hear a song from the 70s, it was great. It was pure. And then the 80s came around, 90s, and then our ears kind of develop and get used to a certain sound, right? Synthesizers come out. Devo, all of a sudden, wow, synthesizers and the beat, that becomes the sound of the day, du jour. I don't know, are our ears getting distorted and perverted from all the stuff where, these people listen to Spotify, because that is the top platform, right, at this point? I don't know.
And there's a cleanness to AI, and we're going to hear that. Mine's a little, kind of grittier. So let's listen to Tom's version. We'll talk about that, and then we'll get to Steve's. All right. So this is Tom's AI version of Wilderness Man. And we're just listening. It's not a video, so we're just listening. And our listeners are just listening anyway, so.
Wilderness man.
I will say I miss my backup singers. Oops. I had better backup singers.
I didn't hear any of it, so I guess you guys heard it, so you're okay. But I know what it sounds like.
Oh, you weren't here? Oh, okay. What did you use, Tom?
That was Suno, and I put the original in, and I didn't tell it anything. I just analyzed it.
Really?
But I kept the whatever that prompt is to make it as close to your original as possible. I just kept that in, and I specified female vocalist, and it came up with its own description.
But it sounded like a guy.
Yeah, it did.
It sounded like a guy. This was the second one.
I don't know.
More bluesy.
There's two of them. I didn't tell it to make it bluesy. I didn't tell it anything. I just ran it, and it took like 30 seconds. So I didn't even give it any kind of.
God.
How fast can you do that, Randy?
I know.
Sing it in 30 seconds.
But I have an issue with it. There's two issues I have with it, and maybe Steve, you might know this. So on one of my tunes, when I was first learning how to talk to it, that's a whole nother skill set.
I know, right? Yeah.
So I figured it out on the first tune, more or less. So I did a couple of versions, and so like then I just wanted to add a banjo and a fiddle,
right?
And I said, add a banjo and a fiddle, and it gave me all these different versions. So I had to go back and reload their version and then add it. But the problem I had was when I took all the stems down and I threw it in Pro Tools and I wanted to edit it. So I wanted this part from that one, this part from that one, like you would interchange musicians on a session.
Yeah, right.
They're not in time. Even if I select them time locked, I don't know if they're trying to be human and be out of time, but I must have spent a couple of hours nudging. I don't know. I could have, when I was 15, I would have been in better. I mean, it speeds up. They're trying to make it. I get it, but it did not lock in time. And it was like it was a little work to edit it. I mean, it's not that you can't do it, but the whole point is to save time. So anyway, other than that, and I feel like everything's over compressed and over EQ'd.
Yeah. If
they could, let's say, take that stuff that we do in the studio off, so we could do it, that would be nice. Maybe another version, But that, I don't know if you've come across that feeling.
Yeah,
it seems like they mastered every track instead of mastering the whole thing.
Yeah, they just added one of the versions. They added the tempo lock.
That doesn't work.
Yeah.
I downloaded them tempo locked, and they weren't locked to the tempo.
A lot of times I'll take a track that has been generated and use that as a cover and rerun it through and change the prompt there. I've done some heavy metal stuff where I wanted to add an orchestra or a string quartet. I take the finished track and say string quartet. So it does it, and then I mix it all in. Same thing like you, a lot of cutting and pasting,
Oh, so you told it to make the metal song a string quartet. You didn't say add it to the metal song,
right? And
then you took that and blended that. Okay,
right. And then or if I want a choir, I'll say make this a choir, and then
That's cool. I wouldn't spend that much time on it because I
mean, I generally go through like 50 to 100 clips for per song, just cut and paste, changing it a little bit. And then sometimes it goes crazy. I'm like, what the heck are you doing?
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah. It's a lot of.
So what I'm hearing from you guys, it's not as easy as write the song. There's some skill here that you guys are bringing your expertise to make that, even the second version, that the one Tom did, to make it sound like something.
Right.
People on Wilderness Man, I didn't do anything though.
Okay, you didn't do anything.
No, I wanted to see what it would do because I figured you said Steve was working on it a lot in his own way. So I thought, well, this will be different because I just wanted to pop it in, and see what it does. And it was literally like I don't know, a minute and a half to do two versions. But I've done versions and I've just been like delete, and then I got to go back. But I thought it'd be a nice experiment because I'm sure, Steve, you have a crafted one. We're going to hear that.
Yeah, we're going to hear that. Let's hear it.
I hope I could hear it. I didn't hear that one, but
and just give me a little bit. I'll give you a little background. So I asked Randy for an isolated vocal, and then I also did. I have a program, RipX, which makes stems of regular WAV files. So I separated.
Which is an AI program.
It's not an AI program.
Oh, it's not? Okay, so I use
FX.
Isotope Music
Oh, yeah.
Balancer, and I guess that's AI, right?
Yeah, I mean, I need to get the new Mac in order to run all the like Isotope and Logic, and that's the other thing. Let me mention, AI is being incorporated into recording tools. So all it's doing is like if you want to master or mix a song, there's AI intelligence to mix the song, but then you can tweak it again. You know what I mean? I mean, just
Right.
when a person does sound for a band these days, it has a leveling capability. So it sets all the levels for all the instruments, and then the guy running the board has to tweak it a little bit. So that's kind of where it's going. I mean, it's helping musicians and producers, and it's not creating the song, but it's mixing it and adding other features that you'd have to do manually.
And a lot of us indie artists don't have access to that, or they have funding.
Right.
They skip the mastering, and then it sounds like crap when it goes to Spotify.
Right. And the levels and all that. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So,
which is why I think this got so popular, because people that are independent, which is pretty much everybody now, are like, why do I have to learn how to? Okay, it's hard enough to express yourself, have all these life experiences, and write a song. Okay,
right.
So
right.
why does the singer? Well, why does even the songwriter have to be the singer and have to perform and have to record and have to know this? And and then all this stuff is expensive, because the people that are good are professional, and they need to earn a living, and it's and that's great, and that keeps the world going around. But then the poor artist has like, well, I'll try this because I can't do all that, and
Right.
Nobody should have to do all of that. But now this is doing it for you. So is it achieving anything? I guess it depends on the person and their level
Right.
of what they want to represent themselves.
Yeah, I mean, and CDs are a thing of the past. At least when it used to be that you'd be able to go to a gig and say, "Here's my CDs." I mean, I play some gigs, and I have a tip jar, and I say, "Anybody who puts tip jar and take a CD?" They say, "I can't play it." So I have download codes from Bandcamp along with the CD, and I hand make the CDs now. They look cool. I'm a graphic artist, so I do a good job with that. I hand label the disc. I have a template, make it really nice. It gives something physical to hand out with the download code.
It's
still
funny.
not making much.
Young people are buying albums now.
Yeah, well, that's the other
This
thing.
is the new
Vinyl.
thing.
That is expensive, though.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's $30 for a record. I remember buying a record for whatever, $5 or something.
I
Save my money.
know.
it's expensive to cut vinyl.
Yeah, and it's going to go up, because as oil goes up, vinyl is an oil product. So
Don't get me started on oil
Conspiracy.
prices. Wilderness man going rogue.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
but it's kind of cool, because they're like my daughter was like looking at albums.
Yeah.
This is great. Look at all this artwork. I was like, no kidding. She's like, I have to go buy a T-shirt or something. I was like, yeah, it was like a ritual. Can you play an album?
Oh,
yeah.
right.
And then you got to sit through the whole side. Okay, you put it on, you sit, and it's a journey. It's like, you don't read a paragraph of a book and then stop. You read the book. So if it comes back to that, Jimmy Iovine, who's a producer, inventor, he's saying streaming is going to be gone in a few years. So I didn't know what his alternative is. He's probably working on something of his own, but and I'm like, yeah, if you pay us, it'll be great, to have
that's
back.
the end, right? There goes rub. Yeah. The other thing that's coming back is cassettes. A lot of the younger generation, they're buying old Walkmans, and they're buying cassettes. So a lot of the new bands that are self-producing, they're also making cassettes, because that's cheaper than vinyl would make.
The cassette racket now is on Etsy. I get a thing in the mail. What is this? My daughter's like, she wanted a cassette player. So she got on Etsy. People are making like mixtapes like we used to swap when we were kids, but they're not paying the artist. I was like, no. This little cassette thing I got you has a line input jack. I was like, go out of your computer, make your playlist. Here's some blank tapes. Make your own. Really? Yeah. What about the graphics, the artwork? I said, do it with a friend for fun. You got a thing on your iPad. So they were all doing that. And I'm like, that's cool. And they understand when they hear it that there's something about it, even though it started digital, if it ends up analog, there's something that it does to the sound that they like, because I think it's, I notice it, especially with the AI, it's a technical, I know you didn't want to stay off that, but it was like, there's a thing that it does that like irritates me after a while. The average person that grew up with just streaming, like a younger person, it doesn't get that irritated. But if you grew up first listening to albums and then later CDs and living with this or playing it in person, there's a digital thing, and it's kind of annoying. Like I have modeling, instead of carrying tube amps anymore to gigs, I use a modeling thing. But when I'm recording, my friend's like, "Oh, you have all these amps." No, I said, because once you start doing that in recording, and I double and I do 9 guitar parts, that digital thing, aliasing or whatever, builds up, and it makes everybody be like, what is it? So I don't know.
Everybody's irritated.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah, that could be one of them.
Yeah, right. Yeah, everybody's mad because they're hearing all this stuff.
If every song basically is going to have the same AQ, compression, and everything,
right?
You're going to spot it, I think, quickly. Let's listen to Steve's version of this.
Okay, I hope I can hear it. Let me see.
All right.
Is there anything I have to do on my end to hear it?
I don't know. We should just.
Last time when you hit play before, it said for me to click on for sound. But this time it didn't. So I'll see what happens.
I didn't play it. So, all right. Hopefully you can hear.
In the dark, what did you start? You took your trip to the wilderness, and what did you find? Was I on your mind? Wilderness man, wilderness man, wilderness man, wilderness man.
don't call it. I actually hate that I like some of her phrasing better than mine. I hate that. I don't even know what to do with it. You know, like.
Well, you brought up a good point. So I've used it when I've had a singer that I really like and I want them to sing it. And in one particular instance, this guy that I love, he was having a tough day, allergies. He did some backgrounds. I was like, and he comes up with really interesting ideas and he changes things a little bit in the best possible way. But he didn't have it that day in his voice. I was like, just do your thing. Yeah, but it's not going to be good. I said, don't worry about it. When you're ready, you'll come back. So I was mastering a batch of tunes, so I had to do it. And he's like, I'm ready to come back. I'm like, okay. I said, well, I kind of did it in AI. He goes, what do you mean? I said, well, I just had to copy everything you did, and it sounded like you without being hoarse. And you know, so next month he's coming back. That was 6 months ago, but I wanted to give it to the mastering guy in the batch and get it done. So I mean, you could learn from the AI to become a better musician or vocalist or whatever.
Let's catch up with some of the comments here, because Billy even says, I hate to say I liked it, but not as much as your original, because I love you, Billy, so much. And my drummer has to chime in and go, are we changing the way we're playing this? And I'm not talking to you anymore. I'm sorry. No, but I think Tom has a point, because there was always something I thought, you know, where should I go? I kept it kind of, you know, conversational. But I kind of I like some of her phrasing, and maybe would love to go back into the studio and redo it, re-release.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you know, the other thing to consider too is the AI is taking what you gave it. So if they so if they think like, you know, the AI, like, let's say, okay, your sweet spot in your voice is here, and this phrase is a little bit there or there, and that's not your comfort zone. The AI is gonna adjust. It has no range. You know what I mean? It'll pick the singer that can do things because it's not a human. So that's the trick of like, you know, okay, do I develop that part of my range, or do I, when I play it live, do I play it in a different key, or, you know, things like that, or like maybe you've just improved since then, and now you're more attuned to what you can do now, vocally and stylistically and songwriting. So you know, I just think it's a good tool. I don't think it's going to replace anything, really. I bring it on, bring it as much as possiple, and and just, you know, it's not going to do what any of us do, you know. I'm not going to ignore it. Like a friend of mine who's a singer, a great songwriter, she said, the train's leaving the station. I'm not staying on the platform. I'm getting on, and I'll go where I got to go. And for her, she can sing, but she sings in her way. And she's like, if I don't want to hear my voice and I want to try a song, but I don't want to commit to paying a singer till I know, then I throw it in there. And it's a good tool.
You have to wonder, though, it's advancing so much. Where are we going? Right? Is it going to get to the point where it has so much resolution and quality? And, you know, I don't know. I'm amazed that every day, every week, there's some new stuff coming out. I mean, Suno just had another update. I don't know. It's an interesting, you know, concept.
Well, who's going to do the gigs?
Well,
you know,
right.
That's the problem now. That's a problem now, though, right? I mean, you get gigs. Oh well, you didn't bring any people or enough people, so we're only going to pay you half what we told you we'd pay you. And our people, you know, if you play in restaurants, I mean, I've stopped doing that. You know, it's like nobody's paying attention, especially if you're a songwriter. You need, I guess, to find the right audience in the right venue. That's still true, but people are, I don't know. It's like,
you know what though? I know. I knew a lot of session players back in the day when I first started many years ago. And their job was to stand behind stage and actually play the instruments because the guys on the stage really couldn't play.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, like the Monkeys or
Milli
Vanilli. Remember Milli Vanilli?
Jumping around the stage, you know, they're not really playing, you know, so they've been.
I don't know if that, yeah. What about, I mean, I know a couple dudes that are like hip hop. They use loops. They're not, they don't really even play, right? It's all the rap, you know, so they're creative in their lyrics and how they present their vocal, but all this, the background is canned stuff, but they've programmed
Well,
it in a sense.
it's
right?
kind of, well, I think I'm not saying this about hip hop specifically. I'm saying about human nature. Everybody got lazy. I remember the first session I did at my friend's studio 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And I went in and there's this kid with a couple of turntables. So I called him at home. I said, dude, what do I do with this? And he goes, just plug the turntables in. He'll just record.
Do his thing. Yeah.
Right. So this kid had 2 records and he kept this thing going and he was great. And I had a conversation with him and he said, well, I grew up in Newark, or maybe he was from Patterson, and they pulled all the funding for music in schools and I didn't have any money for lessons. So he picked turntables out of the garbage and fixed them. And then he got those breakbeat records, you know, for like cheap at the record store used, and he learned how to do it. So he had as much chops on 2 turntables as guys that play instruments.
Wow.
And then a guy came in and sang. And then back then, a lot of the lyrical content was a little more positive and not so misogynistic or violent. And it was like their craft. That was an urban cultural craft. And that because of the fact that if they didn't have a music education program, that's what they wanted to create. So, but then when people figured out, oh, it's a sampler, I pushed a button.
Yeah.
Then the thievery started until they figured out we have to clear samples and get paid. So it's just every technological evolution. Now you see more and more rap records. Now guitar's back. It's a big thing. A lot of guitar parts on hip hop records. Guys call me just to play guitar and stuff. Because I'm like, well, I don't produce that, and I could recommend better people than me to do it, but I'll play guitar on it or I'll mix it. But so I think it's cyclical, you know. Just like people now places aren't paying, and music is a little, you know, harder to go out and see. But I think, you know, in the worst times, there's always music and people go out. I mean, think about in the summer, you go to the beach, just every day, all night, there's somebody playing, you know, somewhere. So I'm like, okay, when people need that, I mean, like in the Depression era of my parents, it was like big band music, as broke as they were, they could go out and see that, you know? So I think it's, you know, the technology always gets in the way and then people have to adjust. Hopefully it doesn't, you know, we're not all, you know,
robots.
So maybe they'll just pop our brains out and pop them in a robot, and then we can do like a bunch of gigs. I don't know, maybe. We'll see.
Let me ask you this, because we have about 5 minutes left, a couple minutes left. How do you think this is going to change the industry? Where do you think we're going? Steve, we'll start with you. Where do you think it's going?
Well, you know, I'm semi-pro. I mean, I've been trying to get my music out there, but you know, at the end of the day, it's a business. So they're going to go for the cheapest way and the bottom line. That's what it's always, right? You know, back in the whenever, oh, this is the hot band. We need clone bands, and how you know, it's been that way ever since. As soon as they knew, oh, we can make a lot of money. Hey, one of my favorite heroes is Frank Zappa, and he had a lot to say about that. Tom?
Yep. I don't know. I want to be positive because I think it's going to exhaust itself, because as the people coming up that prompt it, I don't know if I don't think they know enough to really tell it what to do, because they haven't studied or understood, you know. So maybe that'll make them want to learn music more, or maybe, you know, right now everything's a little, you know, a little tenuous and abrupt, and everybody wants the quickest thing. I think they're going to get sick of it. I think if, you know, eventually, I hope, because otherwise, you know, think about it. What would the world be like without music?
Robots.
And I can't, and you can't listen to canned music all the time. It's just, it doesn't, you know, like, it's like watching, okay, it's like I like all kinds of movies, so I like a dumb, like sci-fi action movie, but that's not the same as watching a real deep story, well written. So maybe it's 2 things. Kind of like people said, oh, a Walkman doesn't sound good. And I was like, it's a convenience thing. If you're going running or you go to the gym or you're on the beach, it's not supposed to sound good, you know? So that's, you know, the problem is like kids now, until the ones that are now getting in albums and cassettes, they're so used to listening, you know, streaming only. But then when they know, when they hear, they get emotionally attached to hearing a record, you know, on a real good stereo. They're like, whoa,
Yeah.
they'll get it. They'll change it back because every generation when we were young, we did all kinds of stuff that made things happen. So hopefully they
Yeah.
save us from this.
Hope so.
Okay, we have 2 minutes left. So in the last couple minutes, is enough being done to police this, to identify it? Do we need to know it's AI? Does it need its own category? And we only have 2 minutes to answer this.
We need a lawyer. I don't know. Yeah.
Is there a radio station saying I'm not playing AI? How do they know?
Bandcamp said they're not. They've been making a stance saying that's not why we developed our platform. So we're not allowing AI. But now they're I mean, there were a lot of bands on there that were complete AI, and you could tell. But I guess AI assisted, and for licensing, they're allowing 80% or 20% AI, 80% original, composed or whatever music. So I guess it's changing.
And how do we police that though? Because how do you know? You have to be on the honor system. Okay, like you produce all your own tracks and then you AI vocals. So that's like what, 10, 15% or 20, although it's the song.
Well, for licensing, they don't want songs that were created by AI. So in other words, it's like a composer has to compose the song and they just used AI to realize it, I guess. Okay. That's kind of what they're saying, at this point. That may change. It's the Wild West.
It's the Wild West, Tom. It's the Wild West, is it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I think they have a lock on it. Like the guy from Universal said, no way, we don't want any piece of it in there. They don't want 2%. So maybe that's just them. But okay, so let's hypothetically say you're going to Spotify lets it go. So then what's going to happen? Where are they going to get their AI information? Is that going to blow the thing up because it's getting tracks that you know what I mean? It's like incestuous. I have no idea. But I think it's crazy.
The industry gets to use AI, but we don't. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. And it's not just Spotify. It goes out to the web. So it's YouTube. It's everywhere.
Okay, there's a good example how they can police it. So YouTube, right? They have companies that every 7 seconds they insert metadata in something. So just a quick example, this company is called AdRev. So I had a song that was in that movie Imitation Game, right? So back when that came out, I had a kid, doing video stuff for me and graphics. So I said, hey, take a graphic from the movie and put that on the YouTube thing and we got credits at the end, put that. Okay, cool. So we did it. And he says, I got this message in like a minute. Right. And it was from them. And it said, so back then you could just monetize anything. Now you have to have a certain level to get monetized. Right. So it said, hi, you can use this song, but it's property of Warner Chappell Music because we sold it to them. And so yeah, you can't monetize it. So I met the guy in LA and he was like, you should do it. And I said, why? I don't have many plays. I don't want to be an artist. He said, no, my friend from college, he had like 600 plays. He thought, but he had 5 million because some video gamers were using it. And because they put the tags in the data every 7 seconds, so they can police it if they want,
Yeah.
And
all right.
because
this has been a great discussion. You guys have been amazing, eye-opening for a lot of the AI in the community. And I think this really, really, was well. I appreciate you spending the time with me.
Well, thank you, Randy, for having us. This is great.
And AI in the song, I really wanted to compare, as painful as it was, I wanted to compare apples to apples. And I think we did a great job of that. So thank you for taking the time and doing that. I want to thank you for all the listeners, people that were commenting. We're going to get more comments, I'm sure, as the weeks go by.
Come in for your birthday, and your birthday present will be you can re-sing it.
Okay,
that's awesome.
I would love that. Now that I have versions to go with, it is a tool for that. I love, I don't know, Mindy, we're changing it all that much, but it might be tweaked. So There is a purpose. So again, thank you to all my listeners. We are here every Monday going live. And then throughout the week, Wednesdays, the Plow Zone, My Indie Radio, you're going to hear us on Thursdays and on all the streaming platforms. So come back time and time again, even some shorts that we have on YouTube. So you can catch little snippets of us. Like and follow us, and we will see you next week. Hang out, guys.
Thanks. Bye.
See ya. Thank you.
I'm on the road, don't know where